Hello, beautiful, wonderful souls. Welcome back to Glowed Up and Woke. This is another video where I'm going to just be addressing a question that I was asked, and the question was actually I don't recall exactly what the question was, but it was definitely something to the effect of um, marriage, inter-religion marriages on in regards to the soul path. So if somebody is wanting to be in alignment with their soul path and they feel as though maybe they are considering marrying somebody of a religion that's outside of their religion, of course, we associate our religions, are connected to our spiritual, our spiritual life, our spirituality is connected to our religion, and therefore we feel as though our soul and our religion might be, let's say intertwined, or they go together. And this question. There's a couple of complexities involved, but if we're looking at ultimately things are always very simple, and ultimately the soul is infinite. The soul is beyond any conceptions that we have. The soul has incarnated in this life many times and has worn different religions. As like the soul can take on a religion the way that we can take on an outfit, and we can change our outfit. And the same way the soul can change lives and it can change religions. So ultimately, the soul is not encumbered or defined by religions. The soul is beyond any label that we can put on it, any earthly concept, any earthly label that you can think of, and you stamp that on the soul. That is only a limitation. That is not a reality for the soul. The soul, where the spirit lives, there are no labels and there are no concepts. There is just God, and there is only the one infinite source from which all comes from. So, as we work with the soul, we start to connect with the source. We start to realize that there's only one source of love, of all the love that we've ever felt, all comes from the same source ultimately. It might seem like it came from dad, or it came from mom, or it came from a lover or a brother or a sister, but those are just channels that God's love takes, or source love takes to get to you. But ultimately, source does not require those external channels to reach you with love. You can always simply turn your attention inward and find that love within yourself. And this can be done not just with love, but with guidance. So if I would never tell somebody, hey, yes, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and or don't do that. I rarely ever get, like, when I'm receiving information, I I've received what I am to tell the person, and I very very rarely ever get like a yes or a no. What I get is, what does this person need to hear in order to for them to trust their own judgment, and trust, not judgment, to trust your own guidance. Judgment is generally associated with the thinking mind, and that's not the thinking mind. Thoughts are not for figuring things out. They are not for decision making. Thoughts are for reality creating. Your thoughts are a way to communicate to the universe what you want to see more of in your life. By what thoughts you focus on, what thoughts you give power to, these thoughts create beliefs, and belief creates realities. So that's what thoughts are for. Thoughts are not for, like, of course, if you were solving a puzzle, you could analyze this puzzle and use your thinking thoughts and use different clues. And then also maybe you have a hunch or an intuition. and you can combine your intuition with your logic thoughts for a puzzle. That's fair. But for life choices, especially when it comes to love, thoughts have nothing to do with that. It's intuition is the doorway into the soul's knowledge, and the soul already knows. The soul, your soul already knows everything. Everything that is in your life, that's happening in your life right now, is designed there by your soul. Let's say soul and God are like writer directors of the movie, and they're the producers, and they are setting up the stage, and the world, this earth is the stage, and they send in different actors to play specific roles to allow you, to grant you the opportunity to exercise your free will and use your free will to choose who you want to be and who you choose to show up as in this world. What role do you want to embody in this world? It's choice. The key word here is choice. So that's generally what I'm guided to tell the person is what they need to hear in order to reconnect with this divine choice. Divine choice, the same choice that grants you the ability to go against your soul alignment with God and soul, is the same virtue by which you are able to choose to be in alignment with God. So that's what free will means. Free will means you can choose to be in or out of alignment. If you didn't have any choice, then you wouldn't need to be here on a physical body. That's one of the main reasons that the physical world exists, so that we can see that which we are not and experience and have contrast and get enough of what we are not so that we finally stop choosing those things that are no longer serving our own vision of ourselves. There is no right or wrong vision of yourself. There is just the one you are choosing, and then there are going to be things that are in alignment with that choice that you have made, or things that are out of alignment. Alignment or out of alignment, not right or wrong. It's all based on your choice and on the context of your life and your bigger picture. So if you're in a situation where you're presented with a difficult choice, and it seems like, oh, there might be from another religion, and some people might not approve of that, and other people might approve of that, then perhaps your soul is wanting you to have the opportunity to rise above what everybody else is saying and get deep enough within yourself to where you can act on your own choices, your own free will, not the influences of the external world. Only the soul, only God really knows, and God is the same God for every single kind of anybody on this planet who is turning to the divine with a genuine heart, with sincerity, asking for the divine, is going towards the same God. As long as there's that genuine heart sincerity, there's only one real source. That means that anytime that there's a real response from the universe, it's coming from the same exact source, God, spirit, the unified field, whatever you want to call it. So my advice would be to simply ask. No matter who you are and no matter what religion you're in, you can always ask your soul, your spirit guides, your helpers, your angels, God, your higher self, anything that is a deeper level, that is not mentally conditioned by your culture or your loved ones or your friends or your family, whatever. Anything that is free from those conditions and those expectations and those little manipulation games that we play with each other as humans. I say humans because the real human doesn't do that. It's really the ego, or not the. Let's not vilify the ego, but there's like a game that everybody seems to be playing on this planet, and it's a game of like if you do these kind of things, I like you more, and if you don't do these kind of things, I like you less, and it's very conditional. So if you can get out of the conditioning of this conditional game and get into your authentic, unconditional, loving source self, which is always deep inside through here. I mean, it's good to connect here, focus here, breathe, 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 and then bring the breath all the way down into here. Because you see, the breath is taking this journey, it always brings us back into the center of our true self. It comes in through the nose, and then here we have the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. It activates that, but then it brings the light of this activation deeper and deeper and brings us back to our actual core root, which is where the divine light, the divine flame within you lives. That is a spark of God. That is the actual current, the actual electromagnetic power that is animating your body, that is feeding your body. People think they get their energy from food. And that's not true. You get some energy from food, but I can say that you can get energy without food because I went a whole year without eating, and I used to sit and meditate and charge my body, the cells of my body, through the light in my heart directly. And I didn't know what I was doing. There was no technique that I was taught. I simply was just being guided. I was in a state where I was very surrendered. I had like yielded to something greater than myself. It's like a little stream going to a big river, and then the current of the river just takes over, and the little stream kind of dissolves, it disappears. So this can be done on a daily basis. This can be done, in a matter of minutes. If you have a genuine desire and have a faith that your question will be answered, you simply go into your heart, connect with the divine, put your question there and leave it there. Don't demand for an answer, just put the question there. See yourself receiving the answer. See yourself in a peaceful sort of like, yes, I see what you mean, God, thank you. Like, see yourself doing that. That can be helpful. See yourself, feel yourself feeling how it would feel once you have this clarity. That is also very helpful. That is telling the universe that you want clarity. By feeling clarity now, even in the absence of certainty, you're telling the universe, yes, I want this clarity. If you're sitting there like a little kid, like, give me, but I want it. You're telling the universe, I'm resisting, I'm not trusting, and you're telling the universe, I want more of this resistance. Like, resistance creates more resistance. You have to take your foot off the brake. Take your foot off the brake and just let God drive. Get in the passenger seat, get in the back seat if you have to, but just let go of the control for at least a few minutes a day. And this is how we get clear answers. Another important part of getting a clear answer is, I said before, not allowing the influences, the manipulation, the other people's ideas. Get rid of the ideas, at least temporarily. Another aspect is being non-biased, being okay with whatever answer you get. If you ask God a question and you are already clinging to, like, let's say it's a yes or no question, and you're clinging to the yes, then you're not allowing yourself to hear the answer, because the answer might be no. And even if the answer is yes, if you're really clinging to it, you're not even going to trust it. You're going to be like, oh no, but that's just what I wanted to hear, so I put that in my head. It's no, you have to be okay. You have to be able to visualize the yes and say, okay, I'm okay with that outcome, and visualize the no version of how this looks in your life, and say, okay, I am okay with that outcome as well. Because how do we get to that place? How do we get to the place where we're okay with either outcome? By remembering what I said earlier, the love and joy that you feel, the actual, any real love and joy comes from that place of allowing, of source God energy. It all comes from that same place. Much love.